X-Men Days of Future Past, my new favourite X-Men movie. It's getting mostly great reviews and the fans seem to love it, but my question is, who really gets the credit for this? Here's the thing that's on my mind right now. A big part of making this movie was Matthew Vaughn, who was the guy who directed and co-wrote First Class, the movie that breathed new life into the X-Men franchise. So understandably, he had a big part in this, as it was kind of a crossover between the universe he created and the one that Singer created. But so much of what I loved and what many others seem to have loved about this movie did carry over from First Class. The blend of the X-Men story with historical events, the younger cast, the quirky attitude and comedy, mixed with a tougher and smarter edge. So you do need to ask, how much of Days of Future Past was Bryan Singer's influence, and how much of it was Bryan Singer siphoning off the creativity of Matthew Vaughn and using it to try and prop up his credibility again after the bombs that he's had since he left the franchise? Now, it should be said that Vaughn is only credited as working on the story in this movie, while the screenplay was written by Simon Kinberg, who's the same guy who wrote X-Men The Last Stand. By the way, just take note that Bryan Singer doesn't have a story credit for this movie. And, after I've done a little bit of digging, I've found that Matthew Vaughn was actually the original choice of director for X-Men The Last Stand, but he didn't like the way the story was going and he wanted to do a complete overhaul of the script, but of course the studio didn't want to go with that, so they just got Brett Ratner to do it the way they wanted, and we all know the results. And considering how well things did turn out when they finally did let Vaughn do what he wanted, it really does make you think about what Last Stand might have been like if they had given him free rein. I think it probably would have been the best X-Men movie of the trilogy, and most likely they wouldn't have needed to sort of reboot things if it had gone that way. That's why I suspect that Vaughn is the true creative brain behind this movie, and Singer is more just slapping his name on it to steal all of the credit, when really I think it should be going to Vaughn. Just take a look at some of the other movies that Matthew Vaughn has made, other than First Class. He's the dude behind the first Kick-Ass movie. He got his start in the business working on Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch with Guy Ritchie, which are his two best films. Everything Guy Ritchie has done without Vaughn since then has kind of sucked. And he has another movie coming out soon called Kingsman: The Secret Service, and if you watch the trailer, it has his trademark quirky edge and funny style.
Interested? Manners maketh man.
I have trouble understanding you people sometimes. You all talk so funny. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And what about them? What makes them so special?
Put it back.
Vaughn just kind of seems to be a guy who, as he moves around, anything that he's connected to just becomes better. Whereas Singer is kind of hit and miss. There's been a few more misses than hits recently. When I heard that Bryan Singer was coming back to direct this movie, I was not happy. Because the way I saw it was the franchise had hit a new stride after Singer had left, and I was worried that he might just bring everything back to how it all was before, which was just not as interesting as the First Class universe. So this is all just speculation, really. I mean, I could be wrong. I wasn't there when they were making the movie, but when I see Days of Future Past, I see Matthew Vaughn's fingerprints all over it. And considering that lots of reviewers are hesitating to give praise to Bryan Singer in light of all of these allegations about him that have come out at the moment, I'm just saying, how about we throw a bit of praise towards Matthew Vaughn, which is kind of why I wanted to make this video, because perhaps he might just be the real reason this movie is so good. And while Fox has previously said that they were going to give X-Men Apocalypse to Bryan Singer to do, that however was before all of these allegations came out. So it is very possible that they will hand the reins over to Vaughn, and I really hope that they do, as that would ensure the franchise is in good hands, and then Vaughn can give us not just another good movie, but finish what it was that he started in First Class, and continue to expand that universe without having Bryan Singer or anyone else rubbernecking in on his talent. So what do you guys think? Do you think Singer deserves all of the credit, or is Vaughn the one that we should really be thanking for Days of Future Past? Put your thoughts in the comment section below, and until next time, I will see you later.